So, we might lose Trey Brown again. I feel like this happens every single 3 seconds every offseason. It's always like, oh, hey, it's a sunny day in the morning. You know, everything is going good. By the way, Trey Brown might leave the Bengals. As one of the most competent people in our front office, someone who actually knows what the hell he's doing, someone who actually does do a really good job, and does give us a lot of value for working for us, I don't want to lose Trey Brown. I don't. You know, there's not many people in the front office that I truly trust and think can get the job done. Trey Brown, I have full faith in that he will always do to the best of his ability to make this team as successful as possible. I love Trey Brown personally as one of our front office guys, and it sucks if we lose him, right? But it happens, you know. Every year, it seems like every single team wants to interview him for a GM job. Now, if we do lose him, we get 2 third-round picks in return. This is because of the fact that this is the NFL's diversity program. If you lose a minority coach and he becomes a better position elsewhere, then you will get 2 third-round picks as compensation. So, in the end, we will get 2 additional picks. We'll get 1 third-round pick this year, 1 third-round pick next year, if we do lose Trey Brown. And again, listen, it seems like every year, Trey Brown interviews for like 3 or 4 different GM jobs, and he ends up coming back to us, and he doesn't get hired there, and he comes back to us in the end. But there was a really decent chance that he was going to go to the Jets. The Jets ended up going with the Broncos assistant GM as their GM, but there was a really good chance Trey Brown was about to get that job. So, we're going to find out. We're going to hear about this probably a billion more times this offseason. There'll probably be like 5 or 6 other teams that come out and say, hey, we want to interview Trey Brown. We want to interview him. We want to have him as our GM. It will happen. I don't think he's going anywhere. I really don't think he's going anywhere in the end. And it's not just like we are going to make sure he doesn't. No, I think it's just, I don't know if he'll get the job as a GM somewhere. I think he's good enough to be a GM. I think he is a very good asset to us, and he would be a great asset to anybody else. But it just seems like every single year this happens 4 or 5 times, and he doesn't go anywhere. We talk about it. I've been covering the Bengals now on YouTube for 3 years, every single day, and I feel like this is a story that's kind of, it's like a yearly subscription model. Every year, it's death taxes. Trey Brown's going to go somewhere else. And then we always end the story with happy ever after. We keep Trey Brown. Our front office is still in disarray. It's still very incompetent. But Trey Brown being one of the only good pieces of the front office, at least we get to keep him. And it happens every single year. So, I don't think he's going anywhere. Again, listen, at the end of the day, anything is possible. It's always a chance that, you know, the Jaguars here does go ahead and get interested. You know, Duke Tobin, at the end of the day, probably wants to keep him. But Duke Tobin does love his draft picks. And to give 2 extra third-round draft picks, Duke Tobin is shaking in his space boots. If we had a better GM at drafting, I would 100%, if we had like a really good GM at drafting, I would say, yeah, there's a good chance that, you know, if we lose him, we actually might be really good because we might get 2 really good third-round picks. But this is Duke Tobin drafting, and his track record is not the greatest. So even if we lost Trey Brown, even if we got 2 third-round picks for him, those 2 third-round picks might just be Jermaine Burton twice with Duke Tobin's draft record. So it's not like, this is, I know everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, go for the picks. We're getting picks. Yeah, let's go, baby. Those picks might end up being nothing. So I'd rather have Trey Brown because he's actually very good at his job and he knows what the hell he's doing. And that's not something you could always rely on when it comes to the Bengals front office. So I'll take the incompetency over, the potential of Duke Tobin drafting some guy who they tell him when he gets drafted, this guy's a problem, this guy has issues, this guy's a troublemaker in college. We know he's going to be a problem in the NFL. He's a really great player, but he just can't get his head on his shoulders. You probably shouldn't draft him. I'm not speaking of anyone individually right there, but Jermaine Burton is not the guy I'm talking about. It is the guy I'm talking about. There's a lot of people who warned Duke Tobin and the Bengals that Jermaine Burton was going to be a problem in the NFL because he couldn't get his head on his shoulders correctly. And now he's a problem in the NFL. Thank you guys for watching.